Welcome back to Tarot by the Bay. I'm David. It's Thursday, April 6th. Big news that got released today by ProPublica was a story about Clarence Thomas and Harlan Crow. Harlan Crow is a billionaire. He's a big donor to the GOP causes, and apparently a very generous person to a lot of people, including Clarence Thomas and Ginny Thomas. And he's invited the Thomases onto all sorts of vacations throughout the world on super yachts and private airplanes and things like that. Stuff that billionaires can afford to do. Now, me personally, I don't have a problem with that, especially if Harlan Crow doesn't have cases going before Judge Thomas, or if Judge Thomas were to recuse himself for that because of this personal relationship they have. From people that know Harlan Crow, they say he's a very generous person. He gets along with a lot of people. Hey, you're allowed to have friends, and if they see eye to eye things and they're good friends, that's great. But that does not excuse Clarence Thomas from not declaring these things like every other government worker is supposed to do. So, he's gotten himself into some trouble with that, and I want to throw on these issues. First thing I want to throw on is I want to find out, what does Harlan Crow think of Clarence Thomas? Let's get a little bit of background. He seems to like the guy. Is that a genuine type of like? Are they attracted to each other because they're like-minded and stuff like that? For entertainment purposes only. Okay, let's see what we got. Okay, so I've got the Nine of Pentacles. So there's lots of wealth and good things and stuff like that. It could be that they both enjoy the good things in life. And there's all sorts of money, offerings of money, Page of Swords, and the Four of Swords. Okay, so, and underneath it, wow, is the Ace of Swords. Okay, so I think what you've got here, it's kind of like where money meets the law type of thing. It's the Ace of Swords is about truth and the Sword of Truth and the Sword of Justice, and then you've got this incredible wealth that's going on in there. So I think Harlan likes Clarence Thomas because of he's a strong person, he's a person of authority, and I don't want to say he's collecting friends, but how many people can say that they've got a good friend who's on the Supreme Court? Not many. I think also that maybe Harlan likes like the mental dueling with Clarence Thomas. I imagine Clarence Thomas is a very well-spoken, intelligent person, and I think Harlan likes having that around him. In some ways, it's kind of like this is a young person or a young person, coming out with their sword and learning, and Harlan's like, old money. So it's kind of like bringing somebody into your elite club, like his youthful ward. There you go. There's your Batman and Robin reference for the day. I think Harlan is a very generous person. He likes to help out where he can. And it could be that he probably finds Clarence Thomas to be interesting because he's somebody who's a good thinker, and he probably doesn't shoot at the hip. He probably actually contemplates his words before saying them. So I think he finds him an interesting person, mentally stimulating, so on and so forth. You could say that Four of Swords could be that that's his ace in the hole, as it were. If I ever get into trouble, it's kind of nice to have a Supreme Court justice on your side and maybe indebted to you a little bit. Kind of like your sleeper card, your whole card type of thing. So, I guess when you have billions, you get to buy your friends, huh? And certainly if I had billions of dollars, I'd like to be treating people I liked to vacations. It's nice to be generous. It's great to be generous. And at least, you can make the argument that he seems to be generous with people he likes and wants in his circle around him, as opposed to, being a stingy miser and just, hoarding it all for yourself, and nobody gets to enjoy it not even yourself. So you're not going to blame the guy for that. Okay, now, from Clarence Thomas's point of view, this will be a fun one. What does Clarence Thomas think of Harlan Crow? What does Clarence think of Harlan? Let's see. We're getting closer. The cards don't want to shuffle. Okay, it's time. Okay, so we've got the Seven of Wands. Taking advantage of situations. Fighting from higher ground. So I think Clarence likes how Harlan probably either has command of situations or can put Clarence Thomas, in command of situations. He can do things he normally wouldn't be able to do because he's been elevated up. So there we go again with our Batman and Robin, with our youthful ward being lifted out of, not poverty per se, but being lifted into the elite club. Okay, which gives him a fighting chance to stay in there. Okay, so we've got nostalgia, and again, is your father-daughter. Again, I think this is kind of a, in past lives maybe they were related type of thing, but it could also again be your mentor type card. Now there's kind of a mentorship and an appreciation of similar things. There's sorrow though. Maybe, what would cause sorrow on that one? I'll come back to that one in just a second. And then there's the evaluation of money. What's underneath it? Oh, God. They both like money, right? It puts an advantage, and it puts him, again, in that elite club of extremely wealthy elite people. I wanted to see the bottom card because when I was holding the cards up just a little bit earlier, I thought I saw that flash. So I was really curious to see if that was there. So yeah, they both have an appreciation for the finer things in life. And Clarence Thomas likes having those finer things in life. In some ways, I think Clarence Thomas may be disappointed because he doesn't have as much as Harlan. Maybe Harlan makes him feel more poor, or like a sharecropper or something like that. You've got everything's growing and the landlord gets all that and you get the one. And it might, again, the sadness might be is that Thomas wasn't able to do it himself, so he's relying on somebody else to help him up with that. But there's a little bit of sadness there. Maybe he thinks Harlan's a little bit of a sad person. I don't know. But generally speaking, I think maybe it makes Thomas feel a little bit less good. I think that's what it is. I think it makes him feel a little bit less good about himself because he can't do it on his own. So he's got to have a wealthy friend who helps him along with things. I saw pictures in the ProPublica article. He looks like he's having a good time. He looks like he's having a good time with them. And you know what? Again, there's nothing wrong with that. You're allowed to have friends. And if they're billionaires and want to treat you on vacations and stuff like that, and you don't have a problem with it, and he doesn't have a problem with it, dude, enjoy life, man. Enjoy it. How many times in this history would a black man be treated as an equal to a billionaire and be taken on, treated to vacations around the world? Dude, enjoy it. But you got to declare it. You got to declare it. And maybe that's what that sadness is that, I kind of messed up not declaring that stuff. Now, Clarence Thomas may have screwed the pooch as far as that goes. Okay, so we now know how they kind of feel about each other. Now let's get to the interesting part. What's the current situation? Or what's Clarence Thomas... I want to ask how he's feeling about the current situation, but I also want to read on the overall situation. Let's do a quick one. What's Clarence Thomas thinking about the current situation? Okay. Things are getting rocky now, and he's not sure maybe how to get away from that, or maybe he is sure how to get away from that, and he doesn't like how that's going to look. There's the Empress. Hey, his best friend. He's got his best friend on there. She's stuck, and he's stuck. And he was dazzled by the monies. And then there's the celebration underneath. Okay, so I think what he's thinking about the situation is he's seeing the writing on the wall that they're going to ask him to leave. And by leave, I mean he's going to be asked to leave the Supreme Court. He's probably going to try and fight it. He's probably going to see if he can get away without it. But right now, he's stuck. And he knows he's stuck. He knows he's in trouble because there were things he knew he needed to declare, and he didn't do it. Why? Arrogance? Who knows? But he messed up. And that good life that he was enjoying is kind of going away. It'll be interesting to see if his friendship with Harlan Crow is maintained when he's no longer a Supreme Court justice. I hope it is. I mean, I truly hope that they're friends, but, if he doesn't get invited anymore, then, the guy was using you. But I think this is Ginny. This was, this could be Harlan that was taking care of him and making sure he had all the things. It could also be his wife enjoying all those benefits. Because certainly Ginny has got him in trouble too. And Harlan Crow's has donated tons of money to Ginny's PAC, and she gets paid from that PAC. So there's all sorts of connections with this. Again, and I think this is that underneath it was dazzled by the money to the point where he started making really bad choices. And I think this Three of Cups is people celebrating him having to leave because you didn't play. You're not ethical. Plain and simple. We do like our Supreme Court justices to be honest and ethical, don't we? Yeah, we may prefer progressive ones versus conservative ones, but you can tolerate the conservative ones if they're accountable, if they have high integrity, and they have high ethics. If they truly do the things they want because they think that's the best interpretation of the law or the best interpretation for how it helps people in this world. But in this case, I think Mr. Thomas was being a little bit arrogant. He got, the elites, the laws don't apply to them, right? And I think, not only are you being brought into the elite club, but then you're also on the Supreme Court. So he knew better. He knew better, and it looks like he's going to be paying a price for that. Maybe he's hoping things will calm down, but I bet you there's already calls for him to resign. And, given everything that's going on with his wife, and I'm sure other things are going to come out. They're going to start digging on this one, and there'll be inquiries, and this guy's old, and he may not be in the greatest of health. We'll find out. This didn't help his cause at all. So, speaking of helping his cause, how is this going to play out? What's coming next for Clarence Thomas due to this situation? How is this situation going to pan out for him? Spirit, if you'll give us a little guidance on that. I'm curious. My viewers are curious. We're all curious. All right. Here we go. This is the end. My only friend. The end. Okay. I think this is going to be the end of his tenure in the Supreme Court. He's going to go take a nap. And he's not going to die. I don't think he's dying. I think this is literally goodbye. You're think about what you've done when you're no longer a Supreme Court justice. Have some little bit of insight. Yeah, I think that Four of Wands. That four of Swords is lying low. I'm going to lie low, but he did it. He basically put the final nail in his coffin. This is the end of it. God, there it is again. Okay, so in the back is all this money he took. All this money he took, which is fine. It's okay. But you have to declare it. And he didn't do that. He didn't play by the rules. And now it's started. The momentum has started. And that's going to be nothing he can control. Interesting. You've got the black and white sphinxes in front of the chariot. But I think in this case, it's this process has started. His demise has started. Page of Pentacles. The overarching thing is like you were new to money, and you didn't handle the money well. You handled it like a noob. You didn't handle it like you have like old money. You handled it like new money. So you're not going to be a King of Pentacles. You're going to be a Page of Pentacles. And now you're going to be no Pentacles. You're going to be out in the cold. No, goodbye. You're not in the Supreme Court anymore. That's the risk you took because you were just being a noob. Stop. Dude, do you not realize how good you had it? Lesson to be learned. And again, the stained glass window can also represent institutions, and institutions can come to your aid. But I think in this case, he's being booted out of the institution, in which case it's the Supreme Court. I'm not crying any tears for Clarence Thomas. I'm sure, maybe his wife's PAC is diminished a bit on it, but he'll be on speaking tours and stuff like that. There's not going to be any lack of demand for Clarence Thomas in the conservative circles. Outcome. I shuffled these cards. I put them in different parts of the deck. Outcome, he's got new things to do. He's got to be the youthful ward to Mr. Crow. Mr. Crow's youthful ward. Dick Grayson. Okay, and underneath it is the world. His whole, it's come full circle. It's come to the conclusion. And not only that, the world's going to be watching. American politics is oddly fascinating to people. And now for the first time that in my lifetime, we've got a Supreme Court justice who's really getting a lot of scrutiny. And, how does America handle this situation? There's so much corruption going right now in the government. And now we've got what appears to be a corrupt Supreme Court justice, at least as far as this goes. So I think in the end of the day, he can go to stately Wayne Manor and go on all the vacations he wants with Mr. Crow, and he doesn't have to worry about declaring it anymore because he won't have a job that requires it. Sorry, Clarence. Couldn't happen to a nicer guy, I suppose. All right, so that's my reading on Clarence Thomas. I hope you enjoyed it. Do all the YouTube-y things. Give it a thumbs up, a like, share it. Do all the things. I really appreciate it, and I hope you have a great night. Bye-bye.